Lil Durk, real name Durk Devontae Banks, was born on October the 19th, 1992. According to his mother, LaShonda Woodard, who has written a memoir about her life, Durk, or Tay as his mother called him, shorthand for Devontae, was a problem child from early on who just couldn't stay still and was always getting into trouble. Durk and his two older siblings, his big brother Booney, better known as OTF Dthang, and his big sister, Tuta, were not planned children, but rather, as his mother explains in her memoir, she would barely even know Durk's father when she would get pregnant unexpectedly with her oldest child Dthang while they were both still in high school. And even after that, while Durk's father, Dante Banks, aka Big Durk, would help to provide for her and the kids, they were never officially together as a couple, even as she kept becoming pregnant due to failing to use contraception. And to make matters harder, Big Durk would end up getting locked up on serious charges when Lil Durk was only about 7 months old, as he would get busted for a major drug dealing operation in 1993, allegedly operating under the Gangster Disciple Nation, or GDN, and even having ties to the infamous founder of the gang himself, Mr. Larry Hoover, whom Big Durk would allegedly refuse to snitch on, ultimately winding up getting himself a life sentence that he would serve for over 2 decades, before successfully appealing his sentence and getting released in 2019, something which I discussed in detail in a deep dive video about the man, which you can go and watch if you want the full story on Big Durk. But anyway, Lil Durk and his family would spend his first years living in his grandmother's house and his mother's childhood home in the infamous Inglewood neighborhood, an address that would later become famous, being the name of his 7th studio album, the 7220 South Halsted Street. The family would get another addition in 1997 when Durk's mother gave birth to his younger sister, Tania. Sometime after that, the family would move to a Section 8 3-bedroom house on Laughlin Street. As a young schoolboy, Lil Durk would attend the Guggenheim Elementary School, located on 72nd and Morgan, a school which district officials would call the worst elementary school in Illinois in 2012 when the school was eventually closed due to its poor performance. According to his mother, Durk was so out of control as a child that she literally couldn't work because of how often she would be called to the school due to his bad behavior. At only 9 years old, Durk would apparently even attempt to rob a Harold's chicken with his mother's gun that he had somehow found, with their neighbor actually then appearing at the family's front door holding Durk from his collar in one hand whilst holding the gun that they had taken from Durk in the other. Around the same age, Durk would also begin often fighting at school and stealing bikes, hiding them in the family's basement so that his mother wouldn't find them. But in his younger years, Durk was also very athletic, and he would be involved in the Jesse White Tumblers, an acrobatics program in Chicago, as well as playing basketball in his school's team. But unfortunately, both hobbies required him to keep up good grades at school in order to participate, which would ultimately take him away from sports altogether. Now, in order to get help with raising a young Lil Durk, his mother would eventually move back to live with Durk's grandmother at 7220 Halsted, but as Durk would later explain to Complex, this would do little to steer him away from trouble, and it was around this age that he would truly begin to get sucked into the street life.
72nd Halsted, house I grew up in, you know what I'm saying, my grandma's house. This is where it all started at, you know what I'm saying? Just the rap, the whole stop going to school. That's what we basically hopped out the streets when we came in.
We grew up in a 3-bedroom house, really 2. My grandma kept a room to herself. D-Thing hit the couch. I had the floor in the back. It just came from nothing, you know what I'm saying? It came from one house, like 10 people. Even days the lights was off. Nah, the worst memories of the motherfucker not eating. That's the worst you can go. Really surviving off rice and toast, like that. Starved, not eating at night.
This house gave me intelligence, you know what I'm saying? It showed me to be a man, you know what I'm saying? Nobody won't think about make it out of here.
During his adolescence, Durk would become affiliated with 2 gangs from his neighborhood in Inglewood, Lamron and D-Town. Lamron would rep the streets between 62nd and 65th, with their main corner being on 64th and Normal Avenue, the name of the set, Lamron, in fact being normal, spelled backwards. But many members of Lamron would also rep the name OTF, which is now known to mean Only the Family. But OTF might not have always referred to Only the Family, as Durk's label is now known, because some have suggested that it actually originally stood for Only Trey Folks, a reference to the membership of the gang being made up exclusively of Black Disciples, a historic Chicago gang whose hand sign depicts them making a 3, or the Treys, a hand sign that was famously depicted on fellow BD drill rapper Chief Keef's Bang 3 mixtape. The first mentions of this OTF name on Facebook appear to be from around 2010, which is likely why the feds are now also tracing OTF's founding back to that specific year. D-Town, on the other hand, was located directly north of Lamron, their main streets being 59th and 61st. These 2 sets were seemingly extremely close to each other, and they would both rep the number 300, with 3, as I've already mentioned, being an important number for the BDs or Black Disciples that both sets were indeed affiliated with. Together, the 2 sets would go under the umbrella name DTLR 600, the number 600 600 coming from literally adding the two 300s together. Lamron and D-Town would also be very close with several other majority BD sets from the south side of Chicago, such as the now infamous Wick City, aka O Block, located in the notorious Parkway Gardens housing projects known for rappers like Chief Keef and King Von, as well as TYMB, Blackgate, a crew known particularly for the rapper SD from Chief Keef's Glory Boys, Dipset, aka Front Street, known best for the late rapper Fredo Santana, Dog Pound, which is Durk's big brother D-Thang's gang set, as can be seen in this massive chain that he had made in the honor of the 72nd Street that the set hails from. There's also AMG, also known as Mac Block, or the Avenue, aka the Ave, there's Lowlife, and the much more famous 600 set from the Washington Park neighborhood, known for rappers like E-Day, Rondo No. 9, and the late LA Capone. Lamron and D-Town were also close with a set called Bang Bang Gang, or BBG, as can be seen from this picture in 2010, where Durk himself is portrayed together with this set's name, or in this 2010 music video where Durk and Lil Reese shout out the set. In fact, one of the main members of Durk's OTF crew, Booney Mo, is allegedly from this majority black P-Stone set that reps 79th Street, particularly 79th and Damon, sometimes going by the name 227, as well as an older name, Terror Dome. This set would gain an infamous reputation in the 2010s due to their long war with the GD set called Killer Ward, which in 2015 led to a highly publicized murder of a 9-year-old boy named Tyshawn Lee, whose father was an alleged member of the Killer Ward gang. Killer Ward is interestingly also known for being King Von's original hood before he would move to Parkway Gardens or O Block.
Right now I'm in an area called Killer Ward. This is where I grew up at. I went to grammar school on 6th and Walcott, like kindergarten or 8th grade. This is the area, so this played a big part of my life. I grew up here being bad, gang banging around here.
As Durk was getting increasingly into the street life, he would also begin his high school studies, first attending Percy Julian High School, located in the far south side of Chicago. But due to the long commute, he would soon transfer to the infamous Paul Robeson High School in Inglewood, another school that has since been closed due to its poor performance, and a school which many legendary people from the Chicago drill scene would attend in the early 2010s around the same time as Durk, including people like the late rapper Lil Jojo, who was from the Brick Squad set from 69th and Eggleston, their hood being located right next to that school, and this set having had a long-lasting beef with Lamron, D-Town, and other BD majority sets from around Englewood. The rapper Famous Dex also attended Robeson, Dex being from a GD set called Mo, or MOE, located in a large GD stronghold, a neighborhood referred to as No Love City, which would also beef heavily with Lamron and D-Town. The late rapper Lil Mister would also attend Robeson, even getting an opportunity to perform his drill anthems at the school. Lil Mister was from a set called Wooga World on 75th and Stewart, the set being very closely affiliated with Brick Squad and therefore also rivals to Lamron and D-Town. As Durk's mother would recall in her memoir, Robeson had numerous rival gangs that would bring far more problems to Lil Durk's young life. And over time, he and his friends would begin to get into increasingly violent encounters with the gangs that they didn't get along with. Eventually, these beefs and schoolyard fights would escalate into shootings and killings, with one of the first major losses on Durk's side being a 17-year-old called Lil Mo. Real name Terrence Hollins, he would be gunned down in Lamron's hood in July of 2009, and according to online rumors, Mo was killed by a member of No Love City called Tone Bone, but the facts regarding this case remain vague. In 2020, rapper Brick Youngster would rap in his song Let's Talk Part 2, OTF diss, that Lil Mo was actually killed by friends of King Von, but it's not clear what friends he's specifically referring to. But in any case, Mo's death was clearly a major turning point for Lamron and D-Town, and they would pay tribute to him religiously. Durk, who had been getting into rapping around this time, would even make a tribute song to his fallen friend, this seemingly being one of the first of his old songs that can still be found on the internet. With Durk rapping to the classic beat from Lil Wayne and Gucci Mane's song We Be Steady Mobbin', Durk was clearly influenced by Lil Wayne's rapping style, and he was also seemingly into freestyling all of his lyrics on the spot. Now, the song is a far cry from the Durk drill anthems that he would produce just a few years later, but by its subject matter, the song was quite clearly a precursor to drill music as we know it today, as Durk would not only shout out other BD sets, such as Dog Pound and the Ave, but he would also diss numerous rival sets, including No Love City, Brick Squad, and somewhat surprisingly, also a set called Brick City, who were an older generation from the same hood as 600, a group of OTF allies from Washington Park, who would not long after become very close with Lamron and particularly Lil Durk personally. Similar set repping can actually be heard in Durk's other alleged 2009 song called My Partner Them, this song being a remix of the Atlanta rap crew Rich Kid's 2009 song My Partner Them. And again, Durk can be heard shouting out sets like Lamron, D-Town, Young Money, and Terror Dome, amongst others, as well as his friends like Lil Varney from Lamron. Also in 2009 is when Durk would begin to get in trouble with the law, as in November, he would be arrested for vehicular hijacking. According to the police reports, an unknown person would first try and rob a woman's car by force, and as the police would later find the car in traffic near D-Town's hood, two men would exit the car and attempt to escape, but they would be caught. One of these men turned out to be a 17-year-old Lil Durk. According to the police, while in custody, either Durk or the other man would freely state that he had seen the car running for about 20 minutes with no one inside, so he decided to take it. However, despite this admission, it doesn't appear that Durk ever received any legal consequences from this incident. But then, only a month later in December, Durk would again be arrested, this time for criminal trespassing, as he was hanging out with 3 other people inside of a laundromat in Dog Pound's hood on 72nd and Halsted. And interestingly, Durk's gang affiliation in the arrest report would be marked incorrectly as Gangster Disciple, perhaps due to his father's affiliation with the gang being widely known amongst the Chicago Police Department. But anyway, coming into 2010, Durk was now a bona fide gang member, but he was also beginning to really focus on his rap career, and in April, he would drop his first ever music video for a song that was first titled Wasted Freestyle, rapping on the beat from Gucci Mane's classic song Wasted. However, for some reason, that same channel would then release the same music video again a few weeks later, but this time with the title Lamron Wasted. But these two are the same song. The song was stylistically very similar to Durk's earlier songs, as he was still freestyling his lyrics whilst using the Lil Wayne style auto-tune delivery. And once again, much of the song was about him shouting out the numerous other sets and members in his area, including Terradome, Young Money, his friends Lil Vani, Booney Mo, and Tracy Mo, as well as Wick City and Blackgate, among many others. According to Durk's mother, this song would be an instant hit in Chicago, motivating Durk to focus on rap and take it seriously. And only about a month later, it was followed by another music video for a song titled L's. But this time, also the Grim Reaper of Shyrac himself, Lil Reese, would be in the mix, somehow having a flow and lyrics that were light years ahead of his more recent output, which was not lost on fans of Chicago drill when they would run into this video years later. Now, Durk would seemingly put much more effort into this song, finally resulting to actually writing down and thinking about his lyrics rather than simply freestyling. And the beat of the song was also much darker than his earlier tracks, foreshadowing the formation of the drill sound that was soon to follow and become huge. However, for whatever reason, he would not drop any more music during 2010, but coming into 2011, he would truly get into his bag, dropping numerous songs and music videos, including Sneak Dissin' in January, I'm a Hitter in March, which would help Durk land a radio interview on University of Chicago's WHPK 88.5. There was the track Rob Who with Lil Reese that dropped in May, a track 227K in June, which would be a diss song towards their old friends, the BBG, aka Terradome, who they apparently had a falling out with, seemingly allying with Terradome's enemy, the Killer Ward, instead. Another track called Too Many Say They Drillin' with Lil Reese was posted on YouTube by none other than Chief Keef, who was also beginning to get a major buzz in the city for his music around this time as well. He would then drop the I'm a Boss freestyle in October, which would use the legendary beat from Meek Mill's song by the same name. In August, Durk would also release his first mixtape, titled after his song I'm a Hitter, hosted by DJ Twin. Durk's rap career would truly begin to flourish during 2011, the same time as the entire Chicago drill scene was beginning to pop off in the city, with artists like King Louie, Chief Keef, E-Day, S-Dot, FBG Duck, Bo Deal, Lil Reese, and Lil Durk leading the charge. But 2011 wasn't only good times for Durk, as many developments would be going down in the streets, and in July, he would end up losing a person that was not only important to him, but also the entirety of the D-Town set, as an 18-year-old Tay-Ski, or Tay-Tay, real name Davonte Childress, was gunned down in D-Town's hood. Like Lil Mo on Lamron's side, Tay-Ski would become known as one of the first major losses for D-Town, and they would be so impacted by his passing, they would rename their hood Tay-Town, also known as TTE, which also means Threats to Everybody, or Tay-Town Entertainment. In his mixtape I'm a Hitter, that was released about a month after Tay-Ski's death, Durk himself would have a tribute song towards him titled Tay-Ski Crazy. Interestingly, unlike many other murders in Chicago, this one would eventually actually be solved, and 2 people would end up being charged and found guilty, Antoine Reynolds and Marlon Boyce, both alleged members of a GD set called Shields, hailing from 57th and Shields. After Tay's murder, Lamron and Tay-Town would understandably be thirsty for revenge, and they would allegedly get that revenge the following year, when a member of the Shields named Travis Henry was shot and killed while sitting in his car in the Shields hood. Just like Tay-Town, Shields would pay tribute to their fallen friend by renaming their hood Travis World, whilst also claiming to be TTEK, or Tay-Town Killers. It would take 2 years for the police to finally find a suspect, but in 2014 they would charge a man for the murder of Travis, this man being none other than OTF DD, real name DeAndre Wilson, who was already back then one of Lil Durk's closest friends. However, by 2023, after almost a decade of fighting these charges, OTF DD would end up beating the case and walking away a free man. But back to 2011, Durk would find himself in trouble with the law once again, when he would be arrested in October for an aggravated UUW, or unlawful use of a weapon, as he was caught trying to hide his gun and flee from the police. However, the most interesting part about this arrest is the fact that the police were already looking for Durk due to an investigative alert with probable cause to arrest. Years later, rumors would begin to circulate online that the reason why not only Durk, but also Lil Reese were wanted during this time was due to a shooting in late August 2011 where 4 teens had gotten shot in Woodlawn, more specifically in the hood of the infamous set Gyro City. Fortunately, nobody would die in the shooting, although some of the victims would reportedly be taken to hospital in critical condition. Interestingly, the Grim Reaper himself, Lil Reese, would later state in a DJU interview how he had previously shot someone who had been on the same interview couch, with many fans thinking that Reese was talking about this very case and specifically referring to a well-known Gyro City member and infamous internet motormouth FBG Butter, who had indeed been on DJU's couch shortly before Lil Reese's interview.
I said you had a lot of goof on this couch. I've been watching lately.
Goof like who?
I done seen on this trying to pop before.
You did what?
Butter would then return to DJU and seemingly admit that he was indeed one of the victims, whilst even providing possibly a motive for the shooting.
We op shopping. We go on 61st, we catch Lil Durk and Lil Reese inside the store. They scared as hell. But I ain't even know who Lil Reese and Durk was on folks' grade, right? Tutu get on folks' grade. Tutu coming at cheap. Cause we walked past them. Tutu double back. He on Tuka. On folks' grade, they in that scared as hell. They, boy, what's up, y'all with that? On Tuka, Lil B them get right on that. Hey, y'all with that? He with what, boy? Lil Reese getting that with what?
In addition to him saying we done had some goof on the couch, he was like, yeah, I popped one of these that's been on the couch. He ain't putting no names on it, so I guess if the shoe fit well, huh?
The shoe don't fit over here, gang.
But whatever the case may be, Durk would reportedly remain locked up for 3 months, during which time his girlfriend Nicole would give birth to his oldest son, Angelo, in November. Then, at the beginning of 2012, Durk would get back out and hit the streets running, dropping the song Off the Shits with Lil Reese in January 2012, along with a music video filmed by the legendary Chicago cameraman D. Gaines. Meanwhile, Lil Durk's friend Chief Keef's career was also heating up, dropping his music video for a song called 300 also in January, which would begin to make major noise in Chicago. And from there, soon Chief Keef would be performing for a packed-out crowd in the legendary nightclub located in Markham in the far south side suburbs of Chicago, with several Lamron members right by his side, including guys like Lil Reese, Ball Out, and Lil Durk himself. Chief Keef would also make a cameo on Lil Durk's music video for the song Jack Boy, released in early March, while Durk had already been present during Keef's 2011 music video for his song Bang. Now, the world didn't know it yet, but the Chicago drill scene was about to go worldwide, as the pressure in this buzzing music scene was building and would eventually explode, influencing the entirety of hip-hop at large. On March the 11th, the blow-up, or should I say glow-up, would finally happen, as Chief Keef would drop drill's first nationwide hit, the iconic track I Don't Like, together with a music video where Keef and his buddies, including Lamron members Lil Reese and Ball Out, could be seen wildly dancing to the booming beat produced by Young Chop. Building on the success of I Don't Like, Durk would drop a major hit later in March himself, the drill classic L's Anthem, another auto-tuned banger dedicated to his Lamron set. Durk, together with the likes of Chief Keef and Lil Reese, were now the main faces of the new Chicago drill scene, and if you would have seen the potential in Durk at the time, you would have truly gotten yourself a bargain deal for a feature, price tag at this time being just $1,000. Then, in late April, Durk and Reese would both make a major announcement when it was revealed that they would both be signing to Def Jam, one of hip-hop's most historically significant record labels. And this was even before Chief Keef would sign his historic $6 million deal with Interscope. But unfortunately, just as Durk's career was about to take off, he would have to go back to jail to finish his sentence for the UUW, keeping him out of the picture for several months, whilst his friends and family were trying to keep his buzz going. Durk would get out in July, this time hitting the streets with a new look and a new hunger, which would culminate in December with his third mixtape Life Ain't No Joke, featuring big names in the rap game like French Montana, Soulja Boy, and Yo Gotti. However, it would be Durk's next major move that would truly make him a household name, as in May 2013, he would drop the song This Ain't What You Want, together with his most professional looking music video until that point, probably enabled by Def Jam's big production budgets. The music video included cameos from numerous people who would later become infamous in the drill scene, including the 600 rapper Rondo No. 9, who would ultimately end up killing an innocent livery driver the following year, receiving a 39-year sentence, and, bizarrely, Mubu Crump, nicknamed the Shyrac scorekeeper by DJ Academics, who would eventually fall out with Durk and his OTF crew before getting killed in 2018, as well as THF Bezu from the THF 46 set, who would be arrested for a murder in 2014, but ultimately ended up beating the charges, going on to release the 2018 street hit Beat Dat Body, together with another body beater, King Von, who himself at that time had just successfully beaten his own murder charges. But anyway, back to 2013, and unfortunately for Durk, once again, right as his career was about to blow to that next level, he would get in trouble with the law once again, as he was arrested for another UUW in June, after police would catch him red-handed with a stolen Glock, while the local news would report on him as a rapper, quote, associated with Chief Keef. That says a lot about where the kind of discourse around Chicago drill music was at the time. Regardless, Durk would catch a lucky break, as his friend would actually end up signing an affidavit claiming that the gun was actually his, ultimately getting Durk off the hook. But in the meantime, there was another controversy brewing. While Durk would be released on bail later in June, he would almost immediately get into an online beef with none other than Chief Keef himself, as Durk's OTF affiliate Chief Wook would begin tweeting apparent disses towards Keef, accusing him of not being a stand-up friend and refusing to help somebody that needed bail money, despite having signed a $6 million record deal. Durk would actually retweet his friend's posts, whilst also letting his own feelings be known, saying how he's still in the hood and not in the rich suburbs outside of Chicago like Keef was at the time, as well as directly stating how it was F Chief Keef's GBE crew. Naturally, fans at the time would think that the beef was about Durk's bail, which had been 10% of $100,000, an amount that just so happened to be the exact same amount that Keef would post his new four-wheeler costed. These posts actually at the time being seen as subliminal disses towards Lil Durk. However, as 600-member Tay Capone would later explain, the person asking for bail actually would have been an O-Block member called Trey 5.
They came to him about bonding out 5. They came to him about bonding out one of the guys, and Sosa was like, you know, he not spinning them, but he just telling them like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? We gon', you know, Trey 5 was from O-Block. He was fighting a charge. He had bond. I think his bond was like 10K, 7,500 or something they was trying to get from Sosa. And Sosa had been, I guess, to them, spinning them about, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever bond money or whatever they was gonna do for 5, they wanted from Sosa. They felt like Sosa was spinning them. So they felt like they gave him enough time to act on what the situation or whatever, and then once they felt like he was just gonna keep spinning them or lying to him, they felt like they had enough time where they felt like they had enough aggression built up from the situation to just act, you know.
But at the time, it seemed that this beef was squashed as soon as it had started, with Lil Durk saying during an interview that it was nothing but some words and that the two groups still had love for each other.
A lot of people have been tweeting me to ask you about your relationship with Chief Keef because of things that have been going back and forth. What is the status of that right now?
It was just a little bit of words. It ain't nothing major though.
It ain't nothing major?
Nah, ain't nothing major.
It ain't nothing that's gonna grow or?
Nah.
Have y'all communicated since then? Have y'all?
Yeah, we had a little few words to beat on some, man. We cooling right now, so.
Yeah.
So I respected that. We respect each other. We got love for each other, so.
Mm-hmm.
You know how that Twitter is. You know Twitter gonna take everything the wrong way.
Ain't Twitter a trip?
Meanwhile, Lil Durk's Lamron set was getting some questionable publicity in the local media, as the Chicago Sun-Times would publish a scathing cover story about the gang in November 2013, calling the set Lamron Englewood's public enemy #1. And the article would go in depth on Lamron's alleged illegal activities, which according to police included not only shootings and murders, but also drug sales, and even a large counterfeiting ring that produced fake driving licenses. However, at this point in time, the article was only focusing on Chief Keef's connection to the set, and it wouldn't mention Lil Durk at all. Once again, just showing that difference in fame between these two at that point in time. Also in November, Durk would experience another major loss when his good friend Pluto, real name Patrick Walker, would lose his life under strange circumstances, reportedly getting shot by a friend from the TYMB set whilst out driving in his car. The incident allegedly being an accident, but one that would eventually sour the relationship between Lamron and TYMB, with Durk later rapping in his song titled Crossroads how Pluto would still be alive if he hadn't been out hanging with the wrong strangers. Behind the scenes though, things between Lil Durk and Chief Keef apparently weren't all good, and in 2014, things would go all the way left when some of Chief Keef's old friends from O-Block would also get involved in the beef, with several incidents taking place that year. First, in March, there would be a shooting at Chief Keef's manager's house, which allegedly was a robbery that his old friends were involved in. Then in June, Keef would take it to social media, accusing his old friend Boss Top from O-Block of breaking into his house while he was in court fighting his own charges, and stealing numerous items including designer clothes, jewelry, and even his daughter's clothing, earning Boss Top ridiculous nicknames like Broke Top and the Diaper Bandit amongst Chief Keef fans. At the time, controversial commentary would come from a young DJ Academics, who at this point was only just starting his YouTube journey with his War and Shyrac series.
It's your boy DJ Academics, and now, as the Shyrac Civil War wages on, and let me get my in order. Let me see. We have a named Boss Top who was Chief Keef's protege. He was supposed to be the protege savage to Baphomet. Now, I'm not sure why these two fools fell out, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was over maybe some Reggie, maybe some sneakers, and you know my favorite reason for to start beefing in Shyrac, sneak dissing. Or it might have been over apparently might have been over some song titles or something to do with another named OD who died, who influenced the whole name of Block, aka O Block. Allegedly, Boss Top and his robbed Chief Keef and another GB member called Capo for their chains, including this notable Jesus piece that Capo owns. They stole KK, which KK is his like daughter, his little baby. They stole her baby clothes. Huh? They stole her baby clothes out of her room. They stole detergent. Whoa. They even stole deodorant. Once you're stealing deodorant, detergent, diapers, and baby clothes, there's something wrong with you. That's how that name Broke Top probably originated. But if you're out here stealing baby apparel, like you at the Baby Gap, it's over.
Now, Durk would seemingly let his stance be known a little while after this in the song 0 to 300, where he raps how he heard that a rapper close to him had gotten their chain stolen, and that they're trying to pay his friend Boss Top to get it back. The beef between Durk and Keef would seemingly continue on and off for years to come, although it would never escalate further and mainly stayed out of the public's view. However, at the time, Durk would also have bigger problems than just rap beef, as in May 2014, his cousin OTF Nunu, aka Newski, who was also Durk's new up-and-coming artist, would be brutally murdered in his car while he was waiting for Durk, who had gone into a nearby store. Durk's ops then would use pictures that were taken of Durk grieving at the scene to mercilessly troll him online. But Durk's problems wouldn't end there, because in November 2014, he would once again get arrested and charged with another UUW, this now being his third gun case. But interestingly, this arrest would be the very same one where THF Bezu would be arrested and charged for a murder. But it wouldn't only be Bezu who would get slapped with murder charges. By the end of 2014, King Von from O Block was also sat in jail awaiting trial over his murder case concerning a young man named Malcolm Stuckey. And in January 2015, Durk himself would even end up charged with murder too, after one of the guns found during their arrest would be matched to a 2013 murder of an innocent woman named Shanida Lawrence, who was shot whilst attending a gathering in Harris Memorial Park following a funeral of a family member, this park being near the hood of one of Lamron's oldest ops, the Brick Squad. However, the murder charge would eventually end up getting dropped, and even with Durk seemingly admitting ownership of the guns, where he dropped the legendary one-liner, "I got those pipes, cause MFs always be trying to take my bands." He would seemingly also get away scot-free with the UUW charges, but while Durk had yet again dodged a major bullet that could have ended his career, that career would actually hit somewhat of a rough patch during these years that followed the meteoric rise of the Chicago drill scene, as Durk would seemingly go through a long period where he would struggle to actually find his sound and get motion in music. His time at Def Jam would arguably lead to some not so successful experimentations, such as his association with French Montana's Coke Boys crew, or his relationship with the Detroit rapper Dage Loaf, which appeared as a publicity move for Durk in an effort to move him away from the drill sound to a more pop-oriented approach to music, as even Durk would seemingly admit in his 2016 song Like Me. But in 2016, Durk would end up parting ways with Def Jam, and while he certainly still had a sizable audience, it was clear that his career trajectory was pointing downwards, and this must have been a moment where Durk was under immense pressure to produce something that would get his name hot again and get his music respected in the streets once again after trying to go pop. And it just so happened that around this time, someone from Durk's old circle would get back into the streets, ready to put his crazy story out there for the whole world to hear, and that someone was none other than King Von.